how to come up with a good Etsy shop name. And if you're already watching this, I just want to congratulate on you for taking that first step because this is actually super exciting times and I'm so happy for you. And as someone that has opened up multiple shops in the past, I just want to share with you some personal tips that I use when thinking about how to choose a good Etsy shop name. I'll share with you 10 tips. And at the end of the video, I'll give you a couple extra bonus ones as well. So you want to make sure you stay to the very end. All right, so number one is to brainstorm relatable words. For me personally, I like to just do it right on my iPhone in the notes and just put up any kind of words I can think of that I feel like it's relatable to my niche or some type of meaning that I want to portray in my branding. And a couple ways of doing that is to by obviously researching the category. You can look at your competition and just brainstorm anything that comes to you. At the end of the day, you can kind of mix and match different words to create different combinations. And that's usually how I come up with the names for my shops. All right. So number two is to avoid using hard to spell names. Sometimes you just want to make it easy for customers to remember your name and to be able to type it out. If they're like, oh, you know what? I really like this store. I didn't save it, but I want to find it because I think I remember the words being like this. So you definitely just want to make it easier for anyone to want to search you and just to make it memorable, something that I can easily pronounce. All right. So number three is don't pick a name that is limiting for your niche. For example, one of the shops that I created in the past, I was doing art prints. And at the end of the shop name, I said art prints. But as my shop grew, I wanted to expand into different categories, but it was just harder because the name itself had art prints in it. It was very good for the niche I wanted to do, which I can talk later in my bonus videos on why that could be good for you to add those words. But if you have an idea of how you want to expand your brand in the future, then you might want to keep it less specific. All right. So number four is to do a quick online search on a name that you might want to do. Sometimes you just want to get a good idea on what's online and what's on Etsy specifically, just to see if you're doing something that's very similar to a competitor. And I'm not saying that this is a make or break or anything, but you just want to have an idea. So in case you want to be more unique, then you would want to know that. All right. So number five is to purchase the domain name. And to be honest, this one is kind of optional. You don't really need to start this at the beginning, but in case you feel like you have an idea of how this is going to turn out and you feel like you snatch a name that is very popular and the domain is free anyways, then you might want to buy that. And they're usually pretty cheap, pretty affordable. I'm not saying that you have to do this, but in case you want to expand outside Etsy in the future, then you might want to purchase that domain name. All right. So number six is to keep it short and simple. Usually you would like to keep it between 2 to 4 syllables. Sometimes there's exceptions on why you want to go more, but usually you don't want to keep it too lengthy. And this actually brings me to the next tip. Number seven is to say it out loud. See if it sounds weird. Sometimes certain combinations of certain words just doesn't sound right when you say it. So you want to make sure that it kind of flows nicely, something that you can get familiar saying it. And this actually also leads to number eight, which is getting feedback. Let's say you've gone through all different steps, especially number one, where you've created a list. You have a combination of different names you want to use. The best thing you could do is ask for feedback, right? Not just for Etsy names, but just in general, asking for feedback is always important. You can start with friends and family, see what they think, which one they like more, and you'd be surprised sometimes on what people like. Okay, so number nine is to just marinate on it, right? Let's say you ask your friends and family, you got these names now. And the best thing I would say is just to wait on it. You definitely have a lot more you need to work on within your shop anyways, so creating products, maybe pictures, that you do have time to think about it. And sometimes the initial ideas you might have, for me personally, I always think, oh yeah, I got the perfect one. And after a while, I started to realize, you know what? As I'm developing the brand, the visuals, I think another name actually works better. So I always find that very interesting is I think a lot of people jump the gun on just actually starting the shop, getting the Gmail, getting everything set up. And at the end, realizing, you know what, I kind of probably should have went for a different name. So this is an important one is to just marinate on it because things change as you start developing your shop. And this brings me to number 10 is to make sure that you're actually happy with it, right? Regardless of feedback from friends and family or works for online, what's short and simple, what's hard to spell, what is not, right? At the end of the day, I want to make sure that you're got a name that you actually like, that you're actually proud of, and hopefully actually means something to you, right? And now let's move on to the bonus tips. And those ones I'm going to do on the computer. So we're going to switch to screen and go from there. All right, guys, welcome back. So for tip number 11, I want to show you some sites that I personally use to help me brainstorm some ideas, help me start generating some combinations for different words. I'll have them linked in the description, but one of them is just by Shopify. But let's see, this is a great one to use. For some reason, I've been thinking about the word sky quite a bit lately. So let's say if that's like the keyword that you want to use. So let's go with sky and let's see what comes up. Amigo Sky, very cool. Blackwell Sky, just random things. This one does a good job at just finding the word you want to use and just creating combinations. But another one that I like to use quite a bit is this one called Namelix. Again, I will put it in the description below. But this one actually uses the same word, but it can generate other words, not just using the word sky. And you can do different settings. All right. You can go how crazy it is. Let's go high. Let's just see what happens. And let's see. One thing that's cool about this one is that they actually show you different branding ideas, like color palettes and different font styles. Like, let's say we did sky, right? But there's bright star, right? Doesn't have the word sky, solar wind. I mean, I don't know if these apply to yours, but maybe you want high five. I don't know. Maybe you want this word, this abstract word, even though one of the tips I did say avoid ones like this. Bird bill, maybe you want to do that. Okay, so the last tip, this one's actually pretty important that you will want to know or be mindful, right? And this is that your shop name itself actually plays a role into SEO. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. All right, so right here, let's say you got fine art here in the name. The keywords, if someone search fine art, this actually plays a role into SEO because you have it in the name, right? And I know in one of the tips I said before, how you might not want to limit yourself in terms of your niche, right? So there is a way maybe you do want to do this. If you know for sure that's the niche you want to do, you don't want to do anything else, then you might want to put something like that in your shop name just to help with SEO. But like I said, this is not a huge deal. Like you don't have to do it. Oh my, I do this for SEO. Like it plays a role, but how big of a role does it play? So someone keep in mind that it does help a bit, but you don't have to do that. Not all my shops have specific keywords or targeted keywords for the shop that I was doing, but I just wanted to let you know about this one because it is good to know. And I think that's it. That's it for this video. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you got some ideas on what steps to take in terms of creating a Etsy shop name. And best of luck to you in starting this new journey. It's super cool. Very excited for you. I always remember these times when I'm starting something new and like, you got the adrenaline pumping. You just can't stop thinking about anything else. You just want to build this shop and the name sometimes like gets stuck and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And stuff like this helps. And after doing multiple shops, these are what I follow. These are the tips that I use to create a name. And let me know if you have any questions. Super excited for you. Very happy. And subscribe and like if you have not already. And please follow if you want more content like this to help building a more successful shop. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.